in the future is that you can see there's growth there. You can see that there's still a room. They haven't hit their ceiling. It's crazy to say that at 32-10, with the second best record or third best record in the league, but the best record in the Eastern Conference clearly, and clearly that they have room to get better. Not only because they have an all-star potentially joining them in April, May, we hope, but obviously Jason Tatum, who's doing this weird thing where he scores 14 points, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, and hits some of the more important and meaningful baskets in an entire game.
Ferocious baskets. Ferocious. Yes. I mean, some of the dunks that he's had recently has really put him on the map. It's really incredible. I've just look at that Minnesota game, right? That throwdown over Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, come on. Give it up. And then, not to mention, ice in his veins at the end of the Brooklyn game. Maybe not as much of a competitive matchup, but Brooklyn wants to stick it to Boston. It's in their heart to do so as they try to show that they're not a failing franchise without the draft picks.
Yeah, well, about that, and you can't really blame them. Look, I mean, they just have kind of started the process with Okafor after having acquired him. D'Angelo Russell has been out, so they haven't really been able to kind of get that traction with that group. But they're a spunky bunch. They're a bunch that you don't want to play, particularly the dog days when they're scrappy. They're going to fight for every loose ball. They're going to try to get ahead on you, just like that 14 Celtics team was really trying to do before things kicked in, the draft picks kicked in, and no matter what, the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics are going to be linked as long as Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are getting buckets for the Celtics. So,
when you said the spunky bunch, I immediately thought that there was a Marcus Smart joke. Marky Marcus of the spunky bunch. That was just so right there for it, right there for the taking. And it could be Marcus Morris of the spunky bunch, but
feel the vibrations. Come on.
Too easy. And I mean, with the whole Boston thing, it's just perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, so what we've got is really just an overperforming, very young team. Kyrie Irving comes better than advertised, which is really crazy to say. You look at that Cleveland win, and Cleveland rolled, man. They rolled in the second half. I was actually quite surprised because I thought the Celtics left the door open for them to climb back in, and they really didn't want any part of it in Boston. I was very surprised. It was almost shocking.
What I would say though to that is I would give, you're right. I think back second hand of back to back, but let's also let's tip the old chapeau to Terry Rozier. I mean, Tito hit some big,
which we have been over the last 4 weeks. And we saw it right away. It's like, hey, wait, this kid's really coming on, and huge performance in that game.
But you're right. I mean, the Celtics had kind of faltered. They were missing threes. Shimmy was missing some shots, and they just couldn't get anything going. Start of the fourth quarter, Tito Rozier comes in there and just hits a couple big shots, and that was it. I mean, that was basically the game effectively right there. They pushed out the lead back out, and then Celtics had it from there. I think the Tito Rozier Smart, their resurgence as players that we saw early on, and then it kind of faltered there in that mid stretch where the Celtics started to struggle as their winning streak kind of fell apart. Now they've kind of reemerged, and now the question is, okay, can they sustain this? This has been my beef with, basically the roster construction of the bench, and even to say it's a beef is stupid because this is the way you have to build a team from within, is you need to enable and embolden these guys like Rozier and Smart to take on leadership roles and leading roles that you depend upon. Now they're being asked to do that. And can they continue to do this now? There's a little bit more practice time, a little bit more time for them to kind of, get back underneath themselves. It's going to be a test for them here in this second half. We're going to see over the next month. I think we're going to look ahead here to the trade targets and what the Celtics need to do over the next month to figure out what they need to fill in on their bench for the rest of the way. But I think in the next month, Terry Rozier and Marcus Smart are going to be playing for effectively what their jobs will be after early February. They've got a month to show Danny Ainge they can be counted on. They can do this. and that they should be key, crucial members of this Celtics rotation as they try to make a deep playoff run.
Well, T. Rozier has shown that he can do it in the postseason, and honestly, so is Marcus Smart. But it's again those intangible plays over and over that we talk about. Had a nice offensive night. I believe it was against Minnesota is the one I'm thinking of, where he was kind of driving to the basket and creating some opportunities for him to get a shot. He was hitting outside shots as well, but I think the most important thing was that he was doing more than just, or utilizing more than one talent to get buckets. And I love seeing him go to the rim. What was amazing was how much space he had once he got there. And, that's the big question mark. If he really started to assert that part of his game more regularly, would he pull it off, or would defenses adjust? And is he just the benefactor of, other attention being drawn away from him? And everybody kind of figures as long as they put a little pressure on him beyond the arc, they've kind of shut him down offensively other than the passing.